Well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you are, and welcome to another episode of Take the Points.
A true underdog podcast, if there ever was one.
Yes. We are two underdog guys, right? That's who we are.
That's what they tell us.
Because the leader of our pack, Wilson, not here today, just you and I. So we did a little role reversal. I kicked it off. You filled in for me. Yeah, right.
Yeah, we're into that.
Yeah, we are on this pod, yes. So, I feel like we all have our own roles on this pod as well.
We sure do.
Very specific, right?
Yep.
You're the comedic relief.
Yes.
I'm the guy that does 95% of the work, and then Wilson's
accurate.
just the moderator that just talks.
Yeah.
He's like the talking head.
Yep.
That's kind of what we do.
He's the talk show host.
He
which
is.
We need.
He is. Of course, you got to have it.
Without him, the inmates run the asylum, which is what happens today.
That's what happens. Steve and I felt it was just imperative that we get on and chatted today. We're going to talk about the Tigers trade deadline. I think deadline is on this upcoming Thursday. So stuff could break before this episode gets out. Hopefully Wilson will get this episode out by tomorrow morning.
Stuff
at some
could
point
break during this episode, which would be
epic.
Fun. I'm hoping that happens to us. I
would love that. I always think on the radio when news breaks like that, how great that would be to be, you know, like Matt Stafford gets traded and you're on the radio and everyone's calling in with their reaction. Always thought that would be great.
Yeah.
But Steve, so we are going to talk Tigers trade deadline, what we're thinking. Guys, we know it's been a rough couple weeks for the Tigers. I mean, real bad. We are in a dangerous situation that we want to talk about. How does it impact the trade deadline? Who are some guys we think that the Tigers could be going after just from a really high level? We're not going to dive into every bullpen arm that's available because, damn it, we just don't have that much time. We're not that intelligent. But what are the general needs of the team? And does this recent losing streak change potentially Scott Harris' approach at the deadline, knowing kind of where the Tigers sit, knowing it appears we maybe have more holes in the lineup than we maybe initially thought, 2 to 3 weeks ago. We're going to jump into that. But Steve, I know you're mourning Hulk Hogan, the legend.
Oh, yes.
Passed away.
I thought you were talking about the morning.
Do you want to say a couple words about Hulk Hogan? I know he had some questionable things personally, but from a professional standpoint, what he brought to wrestling, I will let you cook on Mr. Hulk Hogan, R.I.P.
I do appreciate that as the resident wrestling expert on Take the Points.
Yes.
You're right. And we talked about this before we went on. Noted scumbag Hulk Hogan. There's some things in his personal life that not many people would condone or agree with, but what he did for wrestling is unmeasurable, really. He changed wrestling multiple times, in my opinion, and everybody after him, the John Cena's of the world, the Rocks, the Stone Cold Steve Austins, some of our favorites, none of these guys would be anything if it weren't for the work that Hulk Hogan had done. And then, he did single-handedly, pretty much, not single-handedly, but he had a huge part in taking down the company WCW by having too much creative control. Hulk Hogan, his lore in wrestling is pretty great. He was notoriously the third man in the biggest heel turn ever back in 1990 something at Bash on the Beach when he joined Scott Hall and Kevin Nash to form the NWO, which that was a moment that changed wrestling. So
fascinating. So Steve, as a non-wrestling guy, just real quick,
hit me up.
If you had to compare Hulk Hogan to somebody in a professional sport and the impact that they had on that sport, what would be your comparison to Hulk Hogan?
Oh, wow.
You could use football, you could use basketball, you could any professional sport. Like how big of it, and just because I have not followed wrestling, like I'm sure there's a lot of people that maybe listen to this pod that maybe don't follow wrestling as close as obviously you do and others. Like what you know what I mean? Like what type of role, or if you had to pick somebody, it's probably not going to be Anthony Tolliver, Pistons legend. Probably not that.
Probably not. That's your favorite Piston of all time.
Yeah, it is of all time. I'm also giving you time to think while I'm talking about Anthony Tolliver.
I want to go with he's the Michael Jordan of pro wrestling because not because he was the best in the ring. He was very actually limited in the ring, but he made it through. He was at the tail end of what they call like the golden era, where it was just out of this world characters, right? Like the Iron Sheik and Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. And then he ushered in this, he transitioned really from that to what we knew as the Monday Night Wars, the Attitude Era, and he was a big part of that. And he was really the first household name, in my opinion, in professional wrestling. He was in Rocky III, Thunder Lips.
Yeah.
Right. He had his own movies. He was the one who made wrestling really mainstream. So from like a physical or from like a talent perspective, he's not the greatest ever by far.
That's okay.
But from as in terms of impact on the sport, absolutely, he's Jordan. None of this would be here without him.
Great. Wow.
So,
that's a great.
Yeah.
That's a great comparison. Yeah. I mean, those are transformational athletes. So I think it's important we acknowledge those, even though, again, not everyone's a wrestling fan, not the greatest guy. But when something big happens in sports like that, right, it's a guy like Muhammad Ali passes. Like those type of athletes, when things like that happen, that means something, right? When Kobe Bryant passed, like these guys had generational impact on a lot of young people now, right, in their 30s, 40s, 50s. Like, and that's why a guy like Hulk Hogan, for someone who never watched wrestling, Steve, a day in his life,
what do you mean? We were at SummerSlam.
Yeah, what I'm saying is I've never turned on the TV on a Monday night and been like, man, I can't wait to watch Monday Night Raw. But what I'm saying is I know the name Hulk Hogan, and that's how you know that someone's made it, right? When you're touching, people that haven't even never watched the sport. Like, so everyone knows who Michael Jordan is. Everybody knows who LeBron James is. You may never watch a day of basketball in your life, and that's the type of impact he had. So,
yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So R.I.P. Hulkster.
R.I.P.
And then we'll move on to and quick drop for SummerSlam this Saturday. Or I think it's a 2-night SummerSlam, Saturday and Sunday this week. So
it's awesome. Sounds great. Good luck watching that. Be on the lookout next week for Steve's recap of SummerSlam.
I certainly will.
Steve, speaking of RIP, the Detroit Tigers. I was re-listening to our pod from yesterday, just to figure out what because I know we talked a little bit of Tigers last week. Thought it was very interesting at the start of the pod. If you remember, Wilson kind of kicked everything off when we were talking about the Tigers. And he was like, all right, how nervous are we? And he kind of went through the Tigers stats of where we sit. And at the time, it was like, listen, we're 100 games into the year. Who would have thought we have the best record in baseball, which we still did at a time a week ago. Flash forward now, we no longer have the best record in baseball. Believe we're 3.5 games behind Toronto, who now actually has the best record after just taking, 2 out of 3 from
Toronto
us.
Team too.
White hot. But the Tigers are in a free fall. Just call it what it is, right? They've lost 11 of 12, 11 of 13, something like that.
I think it was 13 of 14.
It's been bad.
Yeah.
It's been really, really bad. Divisional lead is down to 8. It was up at 14.5, I believe, after we beat Cleveland or whatever it was. That's the highest it got. So it's pretty much, we'll call it cut in half. Yes, a little less than that, but let's just say it's been cut in half in this 2-week span. The Tigers have just been absolutely horrific. You've had drop off from players like Riley Green, who I think over the last 2 weeks is batting under 200. He's got, I think, 36 strikeouts. He leads all of Major League Baseball right now in strikeouts by 8. He has 142 strikeouts, which is insane.
That's like what people put up for a year.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is bad.
To be fair, though, Robbie, too, the game is a little different now. You see a lot more guys striking out at 150 plus rate.
Yeah,
when the season's over, but to be there already in middle of July, end of July is insane.
It's bad. I mean, over the past 2 weeks, essentially, from July 11th to July 25th, which is, again, this Tigers cold streak goes beyond, prior to even the All-Star break. But, he's hitting 154 against left-handed pitchers. Last 10 games, his average is 200. He's got 8 hits, 3 home runs, 4 runs scored. I mean, it's bad. The strikeouts are an issue. The reality is every part of this team has pretty much fallen apart or been severely weakened in this losing streak, pretty much right before the All-Star break. Yep. So I think why this matters is we're heading into the trade deadline, like you and I were talking about before. What and how is this potentially going to impact the trade deadline? I kind of want to maybe start there. Steve, what are your thoughts of maybe how you're feeling? And then do you think that this changes Scott Harris' approach? You heard me get aggressive on it. I think I texted you over the weekend. I was like, boys, we trading Scoops because we're in a free fall, which is obviously not going to happen. But what do you think this is going to change Harris's, feelings on the deadline? Or are you maybe less inclined now with an 8-game lead to say, you know what, this team is not winning the World Series. We got to be cautious of maybe how we maybe a month ago would have said, hey, we got to go all in, right? We got to get Suarez and 4 arms and the starter, and maybe that's not the case.
So I want to be clear. I think the whole time Scott Harris's stance was going to be, we're not trading. To me, so we're going to get a little dorky here too with minor league baseball prospects.
Love when you get talk nerdy to me,
talk
baby.
Dirty to you, talk dorky to you.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I see 4 prospects that are on my untouchable list.
Okay.
McGonigal's the number 1 prospect in baseball right now, depending on which list you're looking at. It's insane. He's skyrocketed up the rankings. Max Clark is right behind him, and he's one of the top 10 prospects in baseball. Bryce Rainier is injured, or Bryce Rayner, however you want to say his name. Bryce Rayner is injured, and he is, but he's shot up. He's a top 100 prospect as well. They're not going to move him. He's injured, so take that off the table anyway. But even if he was healthy, I wouldn't move him. He's having a really good year in single A. And then the other guy that I would put untouchable is, I'm going to go down to where MILB ranks him as our number 8 overall prospect, is Chris Rodriguez. International signing this past offseason. This kid's 17 years old. He looks like A-Rod. Like, he's got a swing like A-Rod. And you know what I mean? And like, this is where the Tigers have I'm going back to the Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer days, where when Alavila and Dave Dombrowski were in charge, they had hardly ever gotten involved in these international signing guys, right? So international signing is, we have the MLB draft, right? Anyone who isn't familiar, your MLB draft is the college players, but when you get the Juan Sotos of the world, the Fernando Tatis of the world, Julio Rodriguez, all of these, Emmanuel Clase, all of these high-level players, a lot of these guys are international signings. And the Tigers have just never really played well here. So the fact that we got Chris Rodriguez, who I think at the time was a top 10 international prospect, he's 17. He's not going to be here for a while, but that's a guy you do not move right now. Not until you get a little better idea of, is he going to hit, how high is his ceiling going to be? And maybe that's something you cash in down the line, or maybe that's, hey, this is our Juan Soto, right? This is our next cornerstone piece. So I don't think they were moving any of those guys to begin with. I think they're going to be more conservative approach. They're going to plug some holes. But at the end of the day, Robbie, this team has too many holes to plug to be a World Series champion team. If they're going to go to the World Series and win a World Series, it's going to be on what they did last year. It's going to be that grit, that
don't let the Tigers get hot.
Right, exactly. That Moneyball type stuff, which historically doesn't really work to win a World Series, but that's what AJ Hinch is good at right now. That's what he's doing. They're going to continue to build that, in my opinion.
Yeah. So we'll jump into the trade deadline, what we think they need to do, but I think you're probably saying what everyone has felt out loud. And I don't want to say people have been saying, hey, this team's going to the World Series, but I think if you were a casual, watcher of baseball or Tigers over the start of the year, you're thinking, hey, they got the best record in baseball pretty much up until 2 weeks ago. I mean, consistently since the start of the season, outside of that Dodgers series, they have been in fuego, right? That this roster was never, at least on paper, believed to be a true World Series contender. Now, could it be a, AL Central Division winner? Yes, that's obviously the goal. Could it be make an appearance in a championship series? Sure. Yes. But the idea that we can maybe get over even those in the AL, like you look at a team like Toronto or even Seattle that came in here, like Houston's getting hot. Like the AL is just a lot of people bunched together now, whereas the NL has a little bit more of the bigger teams up top. But so it's probably just more of that reality of this team in this current state. And I think Scott Harris would admit that, almost like Trajan Langdon did for the Pistons. They are ahead of schedule of where he thought that they would be this year, even with the great year last year. I think that, Steve, to me, heading into the deadline, the biggest acquisition that this team can make is going to be getting those guys that got them to the 100-point mark with the best record in baseball, is going to be those guys turning it on. Because if Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, Dylan Dingler, Gleyber Torres, if those and Kerry Carpenter, who has not had a good year. His OPS is down to like 700, 720.
Yeah,
I
he's
think.
been
I know
hurt. The guy gets hurt all the time.
Yeah, but he's really a kind of a one-trick pony, right? Like he's not going to play every day. He's only going to play in certain lineups on the pitching matchups. Like, but those 5 guys plus a guy like Zach McKinstry and Javi Baez, like that's why this team got to where they are. If you look at where we've fallen off, we can talk about the pitching, but the offense has just been horrible.
Brutal.
Like
aside from a 10-run,
yeah.
Aside from a 10-run outing yesterday, I think they scored. Oh, I don't even know they've scored like 7 runs in their last 10 games or something. It's been horrible. It's been really bad.
It's been horrible, and that's where I think my question around Scott Harris is like, does he look at this team and say, okay, I'm relying on guys like Zach McKinstry, Javi Baez. Like, think about it after you get 6 in the lineup, right? Like McKinstry, Baez, Meadows, Vierling. Like Sweeney's gone. Obviously, they sent him down in the minors, but like Colt Keith is in the midst of like a 2 for 25 streak. Riley
slump.
Green. It's just they've all slumped at the same time, and with that, you've had pitching that has just absolutely fallen apart. I mean, the bullpen is. Did you see the guy we brought in yesterday that we signed from Texas or whatever? He came in and gave up like 4 runs in the 9th or whatever when we're up. It's like he's got gas cans coming in that are getting totally lit up. It's brutal.
Yeah, like you said, too many holes. And even when you look at the heart of this lineup, you just mentioned the Riley Green stats. Riley Green's our best player, and he's a strikeout king. Literally will get the strikeout title for the year. Gleyber Torres is the next best guy, and he's on an expiring deal. So when you text us yesterday saying, hey, should we, or the other day, should we trade Skubal? If you're going to take your fan hat off and put on I'm trying to keep my job. Well, maybe not. I want to be employed. I want to still be running the Tigers as Scott Harris. I want to be doing this for 10, 15 more years. And I want to be competitive those 10, 15 more years. You could make a case for trading Skubal. I don't think that they will.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Right? Because the problem is you're still so ahead this year, especially. You can still win a division, I think, without Skubal. Yeah. Right? And then who are you going to trade him to? The Yankees? You're going to face him in the ALCS? Yeah. He'll kill you. Yeah. It'd be career suicide for Scott Harris to do it. But
plus, that might be one of the gutsiest moves of all time to be 8 games up in the division, 3 games off of the best team in baseball, and you trade your horse. Like, I think the Tigers fans would burn Comerica. It's almost like the Pirates trading Skeens. Like, I think they literally would revolt.
Right now it is because of how good we're doing. But and we're not doing Tigers off-season talk yet. But let's talk again on this topic in November.
100%.
Because it could be.
It's the right call.
Yeah,
to think about it. Yeah. You're stupid not to entertain it with where we're at, especially when you, again, and this is going to come off negative. Like the Tigers have far exceeded expectation this year. Like already, they are well and above what I thought that they would ever have been this year. Once we didn't get Bregman, they really didn't do a ton of moves in the bullpen in the offseason. They didn't really touch starting pitching. Alex Cobb's been a no-show, right? Like his hip is
terrible,
still broken. He's got 17 shots a week. Like Flaherty hasn't been the player that we thought. He pitched really well yesterday. Gleyber Torres has just been an anomaly, right? He's been and Tommy Kahnle, to his defense, like he's had some bad games, but like without him, like Scott Harris had a pretty good offseason, all things considered, outside of the Cobb signing. Yeah. Like it was all the guys he signed had a major impact.
Mm-hmm. They over-delivered. They 100%. All over-delivered.
And now we're seeing this regression back to what I think we thought this team was going to be. And that's what I wanted to get to, Steve, is if you were to, let's say the Tigers were 2 games up in the division, right? And they were 7 games over 500. You probably feel like that's probably more where their roster is. The fact that they've been so good now and now we're starting to regress. It's like, I think what's happened in the past 2 weeks is an anomaly. That's like
it is
once in a, I mean, you look at some of the stats, we're like the first team in Major League history. If you look at how we were playing before these last 2 weeks, some of these stats that we've had, that's an anomaly. That will not probably happen and will continue.
It can't, right? Like there's no way.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? The greatest turnaround ever last year to the greatest
in the other direction
in the same 12 months.
And we talked about it a couple months ago too, Robbie, right? Like, the water's going to find its level, but we did not think it would find its level to the tune of losing 13 out of your last 14 games. That is ridiculous. That's not going to be the case. If they go 500 the rest of the way out, you're still a division winner.
for sure.
Right. So I would say, I think going into the deadline, I have a proposal for you.
Ooh.
No idea. Again, to be fair,
a good proposal.
Baseball trade proposals are shit. By the way, no one knows. You can't valuize these prospects accurately. There's scouting involved. It's crazy. So I cooked up one if you want to hear it, but this is the type of thing that I think I could see Scott Harris doing. And I think what Scott Harris wants to do is, I'm not going to give you a handful of guys. I got a handful of untouchable guys. I will take pieces that make sense, and I don't think he's going to get a rental. So I think you take Eugenio Suarez off the table right off the bat. Right?
I agree. Yep.
Plus, he's a terrible defender.
I actually did hear kind of crazy. Zach McKinstry at third. I think he's a -5 in runs defensive saves. Suarez is actually -3, which take that for what it is. He's not a great.
Really?
He's better.
Okay,
he's actually better. He's actually better than McKinstry, but he's not. He's not saving you runs at third base. He is actively costing you third. He's actually costing you runs when he plays.
Right.
So
and then you got and then with that being said too, think about this. You got a guy like Hao-Yu Lee in AAA, right? He's hitting 241. He's got 11 home runs this year. He's basically ready for a September call up. Now, is he going to be your everyday guy? No. But I think what we will probably see, Robbie, is some of those, maybe not McKinstry, but you look at the Matt Vierlings, the Wenzel Perez, Justin Henry Malloy types of guys. These can be guys that one of them gets moved along with a mid-tier prospect to kind of say, okay, right, this is what we're willing to give up, and we're going to fall back on, right, someone like Hao-Yu Lee coming up and filling that void from utility player or whatever, right, because they have strength in there.
So you think, so I'm vibing with what you're saying, where I think you could see. I've always felt the Tigers taking a step back. I do not see them giving up any high level talent for a rental player. I just don't think Harris is going to do that. I think it's like Trajan Langdon too, like last year at the deadline. He was not going to give up future assets for a rental guy to try to get to the 3 seed. And I don't think Scott Harris is going to do that. That's why I think when you look at Steve, you look at a guy like Jace Young, right? Still has a little bit of juice left in him. Trade values like the Henry Malloy, the Wenzel Perez. That's where if you can put some of these guys together to make a deal for someone that's still under team control for even if you call it a year or two more. Mm-hmm. That's where I think Harris is going to be making the deals, because I just don't think he wants to. We're ahead of schedule, right? Of what he thought. No way in hell he thought that they were going to be in the spot. And that's what I think is just so different and interesting, because like you look at a guy like David Bednar. I know we talked about him for a couple of weeks. One of the reasons I think David Bednar is in play for us, he's under contract for one more year. Yep. So you give up a Jace Young and your 10th prospect, your 11th prospect for a guy like that. Great, I'm getting him back next year versus like Eugenio Suarez. He strikes out a ton. He'd be a great power bat, but he's here for 50 games. Yep. You're not going to give up Lorenzo for a 50-game Suarez, especially after you just lost in the last 3 weeks, 15 games or whatever. I want to see if they make a move like veteran relievers. That we need 2 veteran relievers, in my opinion, that can come in the 6th through 9th inning, whatever it tends to be. Throw them with Vest and Canely, guys that have high whiff rate. Because I was just telling Steve before the pod, the Tigers have the worst whiff rate in all of Major League Baseball coming out of the bullpen and on their team, which means they do not strike guys out. They are contact pitchers. And so when you have contact pitchers coming up in these big moments, that's why you see the Tigers just get bled out in these innings. Sean Gunther comes in, Hannafy comes in. Yep. He can't strike guys out. It's fly balls. Yep. It's ground balls. Like the only guy that can strike guys out is Will Vest. That's it. No one else on the team outside of Skubal can do that. And I think that's why they need gas out of the bullpen, and they don't have it right now. And I think that'll kill you in the playoffs.
I agree. And it's funny that you mentioned David Bednar. So there are a couple things. Yeah. So at The Athletic, John Bowden, I think, right? Just Jim Bowden, my bad.
He's been around for a while, right? Yep. Jim Bowden, I feel like he's been around forever.
He just posted a trade deadline proposals thing, basically yes or no.
Love that.
And the proposal was this. So this is basically like a mailbag.
Yeah.
Right. David Bednar to the Tigers for outfielder Chris Rodriguez and catcher Eliezer Alfonso. I don't even know who that person is.
Yep. Sign me up.
Right. They said the Pirates say no to this deal. And the Pirates say no to this deal because if they're going to trade Bednar, they don't want to wait for Chris Rodriguez, 17-year-old, to develop. They need to improve their offense now during Paul Skeen's window of control. Makes sense, right? Plus, get fucked trading Chris Rodriguez for David Bednar. Sorry. Like, if that's,
okay.
I'm not doing that. Okay.
Yeah. After you just said he was an untouchable.
He's an untouchable for me.
Yeah.
So, but David Bednar, to your point, another year of team control after this.
Yeah.
Where I think Scott Harris can get creative, especially a team like Pittsburgh, notoriously cheap, really shit organization in baseball. And like, if you've been to PNC Park, incredible stadium,
awesome.
Such a good city. Pittsburgh's so much fun. It's
so
right.
Cool.
It's everything.
Yellow everywhere.
Yes.
It's awesome. It's super
right.
Cool.
Yeah. Black and yellow. You listen to Wiz Khalifa the whole way up.
Love that.
But the team is asked. They have a terrible payroll. They don't want to pay guys. So what I would do, or what I could see a type of deal happening, is you want David Bednar? Well, guess what, Pittsburgh? I'll also take Brian Reynolds off your hands.
Yeah.
Brian Reynolds is having a shit year. He's a former All-Star. He's actually not having a shit year. He's just having a down year. Former All-Star, but he's under contract till 2030. But the contract's only about, I think, $14 million a year. So it's not this huge, huge deal. He signed one of those team-friendly long-term deals when he was like 26, 27, something like that. So he's 30 years old. You have him until he's 35. But he's a switch hitter. He's an outfielder, good defensive player. That makes someone like a Justin Henry Malloy a little more expendable. So you're sending Justin Henry Malloy and Ho-Yu Lee, our 6th overall prospect, to Pittsburgh for Bednar and Reynolds. That would be the type of move that I could see where you're not
kind of a package
right.
type deal.
And you're reducing Bednar's cost because you're taking on a contract that Pittsburgh does not want anymore. Look at the guys that Pittsburgh are also looking to move. It's O'Neal Cruz and Cabrian Hayes, 2 of their other long-term signed guys that while they're not a ton of money, but they're just committed to them, and they committed too early. They tried to play this playbook that the Braves have done and some other teams have done over the years where you lock up your good guys early. Well, they locked them up too early, and now they're just right.
They're paying for it.
Yeah. Like the jury's out on them, and everybody knows how to pitch to them and how to make them ineffective. So Brian Reynolds is still a good player. I think he would come cheap, or him and Bednar together would come pretty cheap. And then you get, like you said, gas out of the bullpen. You get a guy that can hit 6th, 7th in your lineup, and switch hitter. He can hit. He's great with runners in scoring position. Just another bat in your lineup that opposing teams in the playoffs are going to have to account for, and an insurance policy against a future move if you want to move Carpenter, or if Parker Meadows doesn't pan out. Right, you have a little bit of depth in outfield already, but this gives you a little more of a sure thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's a great analysis. Yeah, I agree. I think the package deal in a lot of situations too. Dave Dombrowski did that a couple times. I swear he would get a reliever, and we always bring up like the Ramon Santiagos of the world or Omar Infantes, right? Yep. Where like you start to get those deals done in the middle of the year where you just, it's almost like a secondary add-in guy, but it's a switch hitter that can play defense. Like the problem with the Tigers is the reality is, Steve, the bat that they need is not available at the deadline.
Exactly.
It's just, we got to, there's Alex Bregman not available. Like that player. So like trying to go trade for someone who's 30% of that. Again, I think this team, if we had Suarez in this lineup, do we lose all these games these past couple weeks? Yeah, because our pitching has been horrible.
Right. Like, or maybe we lose 11 out of 14 or 8 out of 14. Still, the losing streak is – there's, to what you said earlier, there's just too many holes in this team to fill.
There are cracks in this foundation. Like, what did Scott Harris say from day one? He said, I want pitchers that control the strike zone and I want hitters that are mindful of the strike zone and like hit in the strike zone. And if you look at what's happening today, a lot of the guys were coming in out of the bullpen. They're throwing balls, or they're trying to throw strikes, and they just don't have stuff that can miss bats. And then you have your bats that are just inconsistent. This is what this team has struggled with. Riley Green is either like a 900, 1,000 OPS guy like he was for like that 2 to 3 week stretch where literally he could not miss a ball.
Yeah.
To now 3 weeks later, he's in a horrific slump. And it's like, you look at those good teams that we had with the Tigers. I think you and I talked about this, Steve, last week. Is like, Victor Martinez could be down, but Miggy would bring him up, right?
Yeah.
Or name whatever Tiger you want to, right? Maybe Johnny Peralta would pick up the weight for a game or two, right? Like
Torrey Hunter back in the
Yes,
you had all these guys that could step up,
and we don't have that on this team because we're still a young team, and that's what my earlier question of like, does what has happened change the Tigers' mentality at the deadline? I don't think it. My initial response, I don't think it changes it. I think if there was any thoughts that they were going to put the pedal to the metal, I think that ship has sailed, and I think it's going to be.
We've nailed that coffin shut.
Yes, it's going to be adding around the margins to use. I think it was what Trajan said that. I think we're like that's why I think the Tigers they're going to add a bullpen arm or two that I think has club control, and they're going to do it with, to your point, some of these minor league guys that are 4A players plus your 10th prospect, because these teams see what we got in the shopping cart. They're going to be asking for those top guys, and that's where you got to say, nope, we're good. Like, I'm not giving up like Lorenzo for David Bednar. Like, I'm not doing it. I refuse. I think that's a stupid move.
Right.
Like, do that this off. I'd rather have them do that this off season. Like, they're going to have one chance to weaponize these assets, right? Using a Valenti call out, Steve, right? Like, weaponize your youth and your assets.
For sure. Yep.
Don't do that for a David Bednar at the deadline when your hitting sucks.
No, right. Like, exactly.
You can't.
That's where you go in and you get. That's the Kyle Tucker trade that the Cubs made, right?
Right.
Like, you're getting a dude, and you gave up another guy that could potentially be a dude in the future. That's that's a fair deal. We all talk about these trades, like, oh, give up Tyler Hannafy for give up Tyler Holton for Aaron Judge. It's like, dude, no one's going to do that.
It's not. And the Tigers have shown no willingness to accelerate this timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you look to next year, let's just be clear about next year. Gleyber Torres is gone. He's a free agent. He's going to get signed somewhere for a ton of money.
Yep.
But that's because you got Kevin McGonigal coming up, which I understand. Like,
they got some Ho Yu Lee as a stopgap. Right. You got Colt Keith, who can play second base.
Yeah. But that's where, Steve, I also got to admit, like, I look at a guy like Kerry Carpenter or a guy like Parker Meadows. Like, that's the type of deal that, like, you see a Dave Dombrowski. I'm just saying, when he was here, he would have taken a guy like Kerry Carpenter, that's your Austin Jackson of the world or whatever, and you say, like, good player, not great. I'm pairing him with my number 3 prospect and Kerry Carpenter. That's how you go get a dude, is by someone like that. You're going to have to give up something to give something. So, like, I think people just need to accept that as we head into the deadline, as you and I will be frantically checking our Twitter pages when all the updates are coming through.
Yeah, Thursday's going to be a day.
I think it'll just be late. I think it's just going to be a couple bullpen arms, maybe a bat, but it's going to be maybe a third baseman, somebody that is decent at defense, and that's probably what the picks or the trade's ultimately going to be.
Yeah,
you don't see them trading, or you don't see them selling at this deadline. Not a chance in hell, right? No way.
No. I mean,
that'd be silly.
If they drop,
you have an 8-game
if they get swept by Arizona and Cleveland gets hot, or if there's some sort of, knock on wood, some sort of injury that, like, sure,
Skubal's arms breaks, and then it's like,
right, or like even if someone who's not, like, even think if Spencer Torkelson gets hurt, right? That's a guy you're counting on to play first base and swap out a DH.
Yeah.
Right. And put up, and now he's been terrible too during this run, but these are guys that you expect to contribute. We are only as good as the sum of all of our parts. There's no one player that can carry us.
That's it.
And
that's it.
An interesting thing to slightly pivot here. Did you see this Rob Manfred, Bryce Harper altercation?
Did it happen today?
I don't know when it happened, but it sounds like Bryce Harper like stood toe to toe with Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, and told him to get the fuck out of this locker room if you're going to talk to us about a salary cap.
Wow.
Which the only reason I bring that up, right, is because I think baseball needs a salary. That's just me. These $450 million fully guaranteed deals that guys are getting, that's only a Yankees, Mets, Dodgers contract, right?
It's removing parity in the league from the have and have nots. Even though it's funny because the records don't show that, Steve, which is kind of funny though.
True.
Like
I know that's the case against it, right? Is like it doesn't, you can't buy the championship. So I don't know. If we're looking at, I don't see a salary cap coming anytime soon. You're going to have to, I think this just kind of just goes back to summarizing what we talked about. You have to hold on to your top 4 or 5 prospects, because the truth is 1 or 2 of them are going to be good players. The other ones are not.
Yeah, that's the nature of law of averages in baseball, right? If you have 4 guys, you probably have 1.
Yep, exactly. So if you can put 2 guys, let's say it's McGonigal and Chris Rodriguez eventually be like your 2 cornerstone pieces in the future. Okay, great. Right? You have to be willing to move on from a Max Clark, a Bryce Rayner, Briseño, who's, I can't say his name ever to save my life.
Briseño.
Right? You gotta move on from those guys to get pieces that you know are established and that you are going to pay them. Whether it be they're on contract or you got them under team control for 2 more years and then you'll pay them. That's the only way you will get better in this league. And right now, the Tigers are in a position to do that because everybody's so cheap, minus Javi Baez. So, but to your point, you don't have to hit the gas pedal to do that right now.
Yeah, and it's a good just reminder. I think sometimes we get high on our own supply, like when the Tigers have been so good. It's we're going to go out and buy Bregman and we're going to go out and get this. It's like that is not how this team operated. They haven't operated since Mike Ilitch was the owner. Like Chris is cheap as shit. Mm-hmm. He's not going to do that. So then it's like, okay, how do we live within the realistic expectations of what we know this ownership group has believed in? And they believed in depth. Like, look what he's done with Steve Eisman, right? It's like, trust the youth, trust the process. We're going to bring them up slow. We're going to rely on our young guys. We're going to add on the margins. Like, that's what our team is going to be. We're going to be the Tampa Bay Rays of the Midwest with hopefully a bigger budget. Like, that's just what this team has shown.
Which would be great.
And but that makes the McGonigal and Clark even more important.
Yep.
Steve, did you see this breaking news about Emmanuel Clase?
No, what happened? Traded?
Placed on leave because of the betting scandal going on.
Oh,
so Emmanuel Clase from the Cleveland Guardians placed on, this is from Jeff Passan, placed on non-disciplinary paid leave as part of MLB sports betting investigation. He's the second Guardians pitcher on leave tied to the investigation, joining right-hander Luis Ortiz. That is massive for Cleveland.
That is.
Because he is the horse at the end of it. I mean, Chad Smith is still incredible, but
sure. But going back,
what an idiot!
Right.
What an idiot. I mean,
look at Malik Beasley. They all,
come on.
It's hard.
Moron.
So this goes into what you talked about, right? How are the events that unfold over the next few days going to impact a team's decision? Cleveland now, 7 games back. You just lost your closer.
Probably for the foreseeable future.
For the foreseeable future, right? Exactly. For the foreseeable future.
Not getting cleared up this weekend.
And you didn't get anything in return for him. So Cleveland's going to make a choice now, right?
You're literally you're 8 games back. Are you going to trade? Are you right? Give me Stephen Kwan in this uniform. I'll go nuts.
Now here we go. Now you mentioned this earlier too. The best player that you need isn't available, but maybe there's something to be said about. But these circumstances making that player available. Now the only thing is it's in division. You'll never see us move Max Clark for Stephen Kwan because in 5 years Max Clark can just pound us. 15 times.
But that's where, Steve, if it was like Kerry Carpenter, I'm serious. If it was like Kerry Carpenter, Cater Montero plus Lorenzo plus maybe one more guy. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that would get it done, but it's like you're giving up that's what it. That's the type of move that you're like, okay, I am strategically adding for this year, and I'm making an area where we think we're pretty solid on making us great in that position. Like you're taking a strength and making it stronger to be like, okay, Kerry Carpenter, great. You have a 750 OPS this year. Like, all right, like we're going to need a little bit, or I'm sorry, yeah, like or whatever. I think he's got 750 OBP or whatever the hell it is. Yeah, anyways, my point is he hasn't had as great of a year as he was having last year. Like those are the type of moves, right? Cleveland says, shit, we're actually screwed. They're not going to pay Quan. I think he's got one more year left of ARB. Then they're going to have to pay him.
Yeah,
it's like those are the good GMs go out. Scott Harris goes out and finds a guy that no one thought was available. That's like, don't you feel like the deals that always happen are the ones we never hear about?
They're the ones that
we hear about never happen. Yeah. Like Lions signing CJ Gardner-Johnson 2 years ago. Remember when I texted you and I was like, dude, this is nuts. It was like there was not one rumor. Right. If you look right now on the Tigers, this David Bednar thing, there's too much smoke there. Like I don't think it's going to happen because everyone's saying it is. It's going to be like maybe it's going to be Ryan Hesley or whatever his name is, right? Like relief pitcher for the Cardinals.
And there's another name too, Ryan Hesley and then Nolan Arenado. You get those two guys in a package deal. It doesn't cost you shit. You got to eat this Arenado contract. But, hey, you got a third baseman who's a former All-Star, and you got a bullpen arm.
Like that's the type. Maybe never saw that coming.
Right, but that's the type of move that I think could come to fruition here. Get the – dude.
Are you looking up Class A?
No, I'm looking up Stephen Kwan.
Dude, he is a stud.
I want you to answer this question.
Yeah.
How many strikeouts do you think Stephen Kwan has this year?
I mean,
he's played 100 games or 99 games. Riley Green, for reference to, what did he have? 156?
150. I think he has 150. Let's see. I have right here. He has, I think it's 150 strikeouts right now. Yeah, 150. I'm going to guess Stephen Kwan. The fact that you're asking me this, Steve, I know it's low. I'll say out of 100, he's played 100 games?
Yeah.
He's got to be under a strikeout a game. Has to be. I'll say he's got 65 strikeouts.
37.
Like that's why he's so
ridiculous.
Great leadoff hitter.
That's a Scott Harris guy. I'd give you here's Parker Meadows, here's Lorenzo, here's Kiter Montero.
How about Kerry Carpenter, Parker Meadows, and Lorenzo for Stephen Kwan?
Done.
Straight up. I do it.
I do it for sure.
Do it in a heartbeat. Like that's our, to your point, Steve, like got to give up a lot to get a lot. Yeah. Like I would, again, I don't think it's going to happen because they're in division, but
yeah.
But like Steve, you great call on what happens these next couple days impact. That's why I said that's the issue with this Tigers losing streak these last couple weeks. It wasn't just impacting the Tigers. It was keeping teams like Kansas City from selling. It's keeping teams like Cleveland from selling and Minnesota because they look and say like, well, shit, we're only 8 games back. That's a 4-game sweep on a weekend, and we're right back in this thing. You know what I mean? Like you've given them life now. In that, like that's like the double whammy. Not only do you start to lose your lead, you give other teams the idea that they have a chance to come back and beat you. If the Tigers are up 12 games right now, 11 games, they just go 500 over the last 2 weeks. We're not even having this conversation. Cleveland's selling, Minnesota's selling, Kansas City's selling. Saw Kansas City made a deadline deal yesterday. They just re-signed Seth Lugo for 2 years.
Yeah, which I thought Seth Lugo would be another guy that we could get in a trade because 100%. He was on that expiring deal. Right, and you wouldn't have to give up a ton for him, and now, he's staying in the shitty Kansas City Royals.
Right. The dirty little secret is our starting pitching has also been horrible. Like that's also been bad. Like outside of Skubal, Mize had a bad last start. Flaherty looked for his best game he's had all year yesterday, without a doubt.
Yeah,
and I think it's funny, Steve, if you saw too. Skubal, I think, went 110 pitches one of these starts. Flaherty goes 107 yesterday.
And it's the fifth inning.
Bullpen, but this bullpen issue is now causing Hinch to say like, all right, I could pitch Flaherty for another 10 innings on 10 pitches on a gassed arm, or I could bring in said reliever that can't strike anybody out.
Right.
He's like, I'm going to ride my horse and like. But you start to get these 110, 115 start, like now you're starting to chisel down a little bit on the like these guys' ability to go deep in games because they're going to get more tired. Like it's all connected. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens on the deadline.
Yeah.
I really hope that our tone didn't come off negative. I think it's just like
I don't
realistic.
care if it did. To be honest, I mean, to your fact, those Robbie and sorry to cut you off. There's so many people out there who are like, let's give up Matt Vierling for Stephen Kwan, and it's like no, dude, like that's not how this shit is going to work. Unless you're going to give up these big name prospects, you're not going to get a big name guy back. Like, oh, let's just go get Manny Machado from San Diego for
never happening
for fucking Casey Mize. It's like, no, that's not how it works. So yeah.
Now those guys become fillers in the deal, but that's where hey, you want Stephen Kwan? They actually say, I need a starter. I need Montero. I'm just saying, and that's the fourth guy in a deal. So now you're giving up three everyday players and a prospect that are currently on your team. It's like that could happen. That's what they're going to ask for. Because wouldn't you ask? It's like negotiating for a job. You would ask for that too. So, anyway, so we'll see. Steve, final prediction for the deadline. What do you think the Tigers do? Not people. What do you think they're come Thursday or Friday, whenever we end up doing an update on this pod, and maybe next week too? Like, what do you think the Tigers at this deadline? 2 relievers, 1 reliever, a bat. What's your final prediction?
I think they go. I think they get a reliever. I think they get a bat, and I think they get a starter. I think they address 3 positions of need, but I don't think they're sexy names. Yeah. They're going to be you're going to be giving up. Like I said, I think you're going to see some of the Vierlings, Perez.
The 4A guys.
Exactly. Move. Justin Henry Malloy. Some of these guys will get moved. And I think, like I said, a package deal probably makes sense in some of these cases. But that's what I think. I think you're going to get or maybe 2 of the 3, right? A starter, a bat, and a bullpen arm. And they're going to be names that you're just kind of like, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
You're going to be like, who?
Right, exactly.
Who like, watch it be like Tigers acquire Steve for cash considerations, and you're like, okay, so this dude is cheap as hell. Yeah. Whenever you see cash considerations some that's pretty much saying it's like the Chris Draper deal, right? I'm going to trade you him for $1 because there might be a 1 in 10 chance he's going to be good. I'm kind of with you. I think at the end of the day, I bet they add 1 bullpen arm. And potentially, Steve, to your point, maybe a back end starter, just a depth guy, because I think they're going to count on Alex Lang coming back to be that second guy in the bullpen that they're going to count on.
That's a big piece of it too.
And they're going to get one. I think bat might be waivers, some pickup. I just don't see them dealing right now with how they've been playing and where the division sits. I think if they were down to like a 1-game lead, you could really see them going all in. I think they still got a cushion. They're still confident.
Yeah,
they got a good series with Arizona coming up.
Right, like, you rip 3 or
right
3
back
or
on the
next
train.
5, you're back on track.
Yep.
So I'm not overly concerned. We're not at DEFCON 1 yet.
And to confirm, DEFCON 1 is the worst. DEFCON 5 is
easy. DEFCON 5 is easy street. So just in case,
because I know I use a DEFCON 1 analysis a lot. I want to make sure there's no confusion. Yes. DEFCON 1 is the world is ending. I believe the lowest we ever got as a country as a DEFCON was maybe DEFCON 2 during 9/11 I saw in World War II. Yeah. So and the Cuban Missile Crisis. Mm-hmm. So we've never actually reached a DEFCON 1 is like the nukes are like crossing over the water over each other.
Right.
So we're probably more like a DEFCON 3 situation with the Tigers if we're using the whole world disaster thing.
Yes. Yeah.
DEFCON 1 is like Scooble's dead, Hinch left the team, Harris is out. That's a DEFCON 1.
Right. But, we're not there yet.
Anyways,
we're not there yet.
Well, this was great. Yeah. This was great, Steve. I know we got Lions coming up too on Thursday, right? I believe in the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, football is basically back. I mean, at this point.
And we'll probably jump into that over the next. I mean, everyone knows that's listened. Once football season gets ripping, that's when the content will be a flying. We got a lot of Lions preview stuff to do. We've touched on a little bit, but we're looking forward here the next couple of weeks. We'll see when we end up doing a follow-up pod on the trade deadline. If we end up, jumping on, depending on what happens on Thursday, could always jump on a quick one. We may just do it early next week, like we have been on
maybe
these
Thursday
Monday
or
pods.
Friday recap.
Yeah, just a quick hitter, initial thoughts on kind of what we think on what happened with the Tigers. But I'm actually going to the game tonight too, which is great.
There you go.
We got Troy Melton on the mound, newly added to the Tigers rotation. Yes. Kiter Montero sent down to AAA. So
yeah,
I do wonder if Melton's a little showcase because he is our 5th prospect, I think, overall right now. And so,
but didn't he pitch the other day too? He pitched last week.
He got shelled,
he got rocked, right?
Yes. But I think he had 8 strikeouts, strikeouts. Like, again, he gave up a grand slam, gave up the first home run.
Yeah, he's our 10th prospect. I mean, sure, yeah, he could be.
But Steve. That's the type of guy that goes in the back end of one of those deals. That potentially nets somebody. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, well, this was great. Thank you for listening. 50 minutes of Steve and I. Steve, this was great. Thanks for just nerding out.
Oh man, I love talking baseball prospects. You can talk Framber, Montilla,
I love it.
All these guys.
I love it. Steve just loves. Now we got to work on the pronunciation, but we'll get there all in due time.
Pronunciation. Framber Montilla.
It also goes to show you, like 3/4 of these dudes never going to make it. It's like trading commodities that you'll never cash in on. Yeah. Is what happens with these
and
prospects.
Just for sake of that discussion, right? Let's see who our top prospects in 2018 were. Franklin Perez, remember him? Dead. Alex Faedo, dead. Bo Burrows, see ya. Right. Kyle Funkhauser. Well, he's actually playing pretty good. Okay. Gregory Soto, Daz Cameron, Christian. Some of these guys don't even have pictures anymore. Joel Lugo.
What happened too is if you look at all those top prospects you rolled off, what position did they play, Steve? All those guys.
Pitchers. A lot of them are pitchers, yeah.
And what is that? What did Al Avila love? And Dave Dombrowski draft young arms up top, and then you sell them.
Yep.
Harris came in and said, nope.
Yep.
We're going all play. We're going all bats now. No more like our pitching depth at the top of it. Like that's probably a weakness for us in the minor league system is actually pitching. We got all positional players now, and only so many guys can play. So,
and we actually do have the number 5 prospect in all of baseball in 2018 is on our team now. Gleyber Torres.
Who's that?
Gleyber Torres.
Love Gleyber. I should love Gleyber, but that's a whole conversation for another day. Anyways, this has been great. Thank you for listening to 52 Minutes. Rate, review, subscribe. Steve, I know, has been putting the videos up on the YouTube. We'll work on trying to get the reels going again. It's summer. We both have lives. Wilson's got a life. We got a lot of shit going on, so we're doing our best here. But yeah, rate, review, subscribe. Thank you for listening, Steve. It was a pleasure.
Likewise.
We'll hopefully be back on next week. But yeah, thanks again for listening to another episode of Take Your Points,
a true underdog podcast.
We out. See ya.